Yes, good morning, all of you. So last session we had talked about hormones of the pituitary gland. To start with the structure of the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland, I hope you all remember, is made of the anterior pituitary and the posterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary called as the adenohypophysis. Adenoid, hormone secreting, and posterior pituitary is the neurohypophysis, has in it neurons, of which majority hormones were given by adenohypophysis. Adenohypophysis, I hope you remember, had a collar-like structure called as the pars tuberalis. It did not give out any secretion. Pars distalis gave out 6 hormones. Pars intermedia gave out 1 hormone. And pars nervosa did not secrete any hormone but had stored 2 hormones. Which were those hormones and what are their functions? चलो एक बार वापस रिवाइज करते हैं. The pars distalis had in it chromophils and chromophobes. Chromophobes, we remember, were reserve cells or stem cells that convert into chromophils as and when required. Chromophils get stained with acidic dyes and are red color, or basic dyes and are blue color. And which are those? You have acidophils and you have basophils. And acidophils stain red in color, basophils stain blue in color, and the ones which don't get stained at all are called as chromophobes. Chromophobes are reserve cells. Which are those? Acidophils, you have somatotropes, which secrete growth hormone, and you have mammotropes, which secrete prolactin. And basophils are of 3 types: thyrotropes, which secrete thyroid stimulating hormone; adrenocorticotropes, which secrete adrenocorticotropic hormone; and gonadotropes, which secrete follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. So growth hormone, prolactin, TSH, ACTH, FSH, and LH, 6 hormones given by the pars distalis. Pars intermedia give out MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone, and pars nervosa gave ADH and oxytocin. So a total of 9 hormones are associated with your pituitary gland. Let's understand each of these 9 hormones. To start with, we have hormones of the adenohypophysis. The adenohypophysis secretes 7 hormones, of which we have growth hormone, also called somatotropin, GH, also called STH, somatotropin. It is secreted by somatotropes, which are types of acidophils. And what is the function of growth hormone? It is responsible for the normal growth of muscles and skeleton. When you are around 12-13 years of age, you suddenly have a tremendous increase in your height. And that is because of growth hormone, which acts on your bones. And Vishal sir has just taught you it acts on the epiphysis and diaphysis. Growth hormone acts on the epiphysis and diaphysis of your bones, and epiphysis और diaphysis के अंदर rapid cell division होता है, and the bones show a tremendous increase in their length. तो bones की length बढ़ जाती है and your height tremendously increases from around 5 feet to 6 feet. And along with it, muscular development also takes place. Growth hormone helps in the production of actin and myosin. And actin and myosin, say, आपका मसल प्रोटीन साइज बढ़ता है, your muscles grow in size. And growth hormone also promotes growth of bones by absorption of calcium from the intestine. Growth hormone calcium को intestine से absorb करता है and deposits the calcium in the bones and helps in bones to become longer and stronger. Growth hormone increases protein anabolism. Protein synthesis is done. So if you remember, this function was also done by thyroxine. Thyroxine helps in protein synthesis. Growth hormone also helps in protein synthesis. So protein anabolism takes place. And it causes fat catabolism, lipolysis in adipose tissue. जब आप ग्रोइंग फेज में हो, आपके बॉडी में fats are converted into proteins. So if you remember, fats break down to form fatty acids and glycerol. And fatty acid and glycerol, of which glycerol becomes DHAP or 3-PGAL, and fatty acid becomes acetyl coenzyme A. And DHAP 3-PGAL break down to form pyruvic acid. And acetyl coenzyme A also becomes reverse glycolysis, say pyruvic acid. Pyruvic acid gets converted into amino acids. And amino acids get converted into proteins. So, what is happening? Fats are getting catabolized. And fats का catabolism हो रहा है. And proteins are getting anabolized. Protein का anabolism हो रहा है. And this process is called as amphibolism. So if you remember, this is amphibolism, and the catabolism of fats and anabolism of proteins, and that process is called as lipolysis. Lipolysis in adipose tissue, and fats are getting converted into proteins. Also, growth hormone opposes the secretion of insulin and increases blood glucose level. So, hyperglycemia, इसे hyperglycemia कहते हैं. ग्रोथ हार्मोन इंसुलिन को ऑपोज करके ब्लड शुगर लेवल बढ़ाता है. It is called hyperglycemia. And who controls the secretion of growth hormone? Growth hormone releasing factor from the hypothalamus increases the secretion of growth hormone. So अगर आपका blood at the moment test किया जाए and all of you are 16-17 years of age, then your blood growth hormone levels are high. Relatively, my growth hormone levels will be less. तो अगर आपका growth hormone level high है, means your hypothalamus is giving out lot of growth hormone releasing factor. What is a factor? Well, we have heard of it. Growth hormone releasing hormone होना चाहिए. So, growth hormone has been detected in blood. But growth hormone releasing chemical has not been detected. So that growth hormone releasing chemical detect नहीं हुआ है. अगर detect हो जाता है growth hormone releasing chemical, then it should be called growth hormone releasing hormone. But ये hormone detect हुआ नहीं है. This hormone has not been detected. We are only assuming that if the pituitary gland is giving a lot of growth hormone, then pituitary is giving a lot of growth hormone, then hypothalamus must be giving a lot of growth hormone releasing chemical, and it is not detected yet, so it is called growth hormone releasing factor. So an assumed hormone is called as a factor. An assumed hormone is called as a factor. So hypothalamus controls the pituitary gland and controls growth hormone secretion by giving out growth hormone releasing factor. And later on, growth hormone inhibiting factor, which is also called somatostatin, opposes the secretion. Growth hormone inhibiting factor. Now, I'm 21 years of age. From my pituitary, growth hormone secretion is less, और मेरी height नहीं बढ़ रही है. That means my hypothalamus is now giving out a chemical which opposes growth hormone, and that is called growth hormone inhibiting chemical. It is not discovered yet. Any hormone not discovered, so it is called growth hormone inhibiting factor. Growth hormone inhibiting factor. And growth hormone inhibiting factor is also called as somatostatin. Hey, yaad hai, somatostatin was also secreted by the pancreas. And what do somatostatins do? If you remember, in pancreas, somatostatin inhibited the release of insulin and glucagon. And in hypothalamus, somatostatin inhibits the release of growth hormone. So, inhibiting hormone called as somatostatin. Neat point of view, where are somatostatins released? Somatostatins are released from the hypothalamus, which inhibits the secretion of growth hormone, and somatostatin release from the pancreas inhibits the release of insulin as well as glucagon. So, both cases we have somatostatin. So, somatostatin is released by both hypothalamus and pituitary gland. What are the disorders of secretion? You may have hyposecretion of growth hormone, or you may have hypersecretion of growth hormone. Sir, what does hyposecretion, less secretion of growth hormone, lead to? The hyposecretion of growth hormone in children is called as dwarfism, and these children are called midgets. तो growth hormone बचपन से ही कम होगा, इस बच्चे की height नहीं बढ़ती है and are small, physically short stature, and that is called dwarfism. And these children are called dwarfs, also called midgets. So midgets or dwarfs are born. They are physically retarded. Their height is less. There is delayed bone development, delayed dentition, and delayed sexual maturity. Their dentition is delayed. So, because there is delayed bone development, delayed dentition, delayed sexual maturity, it sounds familiar. All this was also found in cretinism. So, cretins में भी तो वही था. Delayed bone development, bones are delayed, so height कम हो जाती है. Dentition is delayed, sexual maturity is delayed. So, dwarfs and cretins share the similar features. तो सर आपके पास एक बच्चा short stature वाला आएगा, physically retarded होगा, he could be a cretin or he could be a dwarf. How do you distinguish it? How do you know कि ये dwarf है या cretin है? Cretins are not only physically retarded, they are also mentally retarded. Cretins are mentally retarded. Dwarfs, thank God, are mentally normal. And उनको mental retardation नहीं होता है because growth hormone has got nothing to do with development of brain. if you remember, brain development was controlled by thyroxine. Thyroxine controls brain development. Growth hormone has nothing to do with brain development. So children who are dwarfs are mentally normal. But as a matter of fact, इसमें दो टाइप के dwarfs होते हैं. Frolics dwarfs are mentally abnormal and Lorentz dwarfs are mentally normal. Frolics dwarf में क्या होता है? Frolics dwarf में there is a entire failure of the pituitary gland. Entire failure of pituitary gland. And उसमें entire failure of pituitary gland में there is no growth hormone also and no TSH also. Thyroid stimulating hormone भी कम हो जाएगा. So less thyroid stimulating hormone, so less thyroxine. So there is a double whammy. Thyroxine भी कम हो जाएगा and growth hormone भी कम हो जाएगा. So child will be tremendously physically retarded, and because thyroxine is less, the child will be not only physically retarded but also mentally retarded. And what is that entire failure of the pituitary gland called as a Frolics dwarf? Entire failure of the pituitary gland is called as Frolics dwarf. So that is entire failure of pituitary gland. And you have Lorentz dwarf, which are mentally normal. So Lorentz dwarf is only growth hormone deficiency, which are mentally normal. तो दो टाइप के dwarfs होते हैं, याद रखना. Frolics dwarfs are mentally abnormal and Lorentz dwarfs are mentally normal. This is hyposecretion of growth hormone in children called as dwarfism. Then we have pituitary mixed edema, which is hyposecretion of growth hormone in adults. तो adults में भी growth hormone की जरूरत पड़ती है. Height etc. तो normal develop हो चुकी है, but you need growth hormone in adults for protein synthesis, protein anabolism, for normal functioning of the proteins. And hyposecretion of growth hormone in adults leads to a disease called as Simmons disease, which is pituitary mixed edema. It sounds familiar. Mixed edema, hyposecretion of thyroxine in adults also hota hai, called as Gall's disease. So mixed edema, swellings in the face, in the lips, in the eyes, in the legs, mixed edema swellings are found in thyroxine deficiency also, growth hormone deficiency also. So mixed edema is common. If it is thyroxine deficiency, it is called as Gall's disease. And if it is growth hormone deficiency, it is called as Simmons disease. And what are the other factors? Hyposecretion of growth hormone in adults called Simmons disease or pituitary mixed edema are weak with reduced genital organs and fertility. तो ये protein synthesis कम होता है, तो weak हो जाते हैं. उनके genital organs are not functioning properly and they have reduced fertility. The sperm production becomes less. That will happen in case of pituitary mixed edema. And then we have hypersecretion of growth hormone. Hypersecretion of growth hormone in childhood produces very tall 7 to 8 feet giants. तो growth hormone बचपन से ही ज्यादा है. तो what will happen to the bones? Bones के अंदर epiphysis and diaphysis के ऊपर there is excessive growth hormone, and excessive growth hormone will act on the epiphysis and diaphysis, and too much growth hormone acts on them. So epiphysis will tremendously elongate, diaphysis will tremendously elongate, epiphysis will tremendously elongate and the bones will show a tremendous increase in their length. And if this happens to all your long bones, so you will become very, very tall, 7 to 8 feet tall giants. And that is a condition called as pituitary giants. So their height will increase. As a matter of fact, growth hormone not only acts on bones, it also acts on muscles. So muscular development increases. Heart becomes big. बड़े दिल वाला हो जाता है giant. Lungs become big. Liver becomes big. Tongue becomes big. Is it normal or abnormal? Sir, it is absolutely normal. Height ज्यादा है तो body volume बढ़ जाएगा. Body volume बढ़ जाएगा तो you need a bigger heart to pump blood for the entire body. Bigger lungs because body with the bigger volume needs more oxygen. Bigger liver, bigger kidneys, bigger tongue. Everything is fine. So they are proportionate giants. They are proportionate giants and are called as pituitary giants. They are healthy. They will have one problem though. Anybody remembers what problem they will have? They will have very high blood sugar levels. They will have hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia, do we remember too much growth hormone opposes the secretion of insulin and increases the blood sugar level. तो बहुत ज्यादा growth hormone है, insulin resistance हो जाएगा and blood sugar level will tremendously increase, and that is a condition called as hyperglycemia. So they will have hyperglycemia and they will have complications like a person with diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus के complications होंगे. What diabetic mellitus complications are there? Diabetes mellitus जिसमें इंसुलिन सिक्रीट नहीं होता, उसमें ब्लड शुगर लेवल बढ़ता है. यहाँ ग्रोथ हार्मोन ज्यादा है तो इंसुलिन ऑपोज होता है. Again, it will cause hyperglycemia, which is like diabetes mellitus, and it may cause diabetic nephropathy. So kidneys may get affected. Diabetic retinopathy. So eyes may get affected. Diabetic neuropathy, जिसमें nerves get affected. And समझो उस पेशेंट को पैरों पे कुछ लगता है या हाथों में कुछ कट आता है. If blood sugar levels are high, bacteria multiply very fast. And even if you give antibiotics, then antibiotics can't kill all the bacteria, क्योंकि in the presence of high blood sugar, bacteria बहुत जल्दी multiply करते हैं, and that entire area, because of too much bacteria, may go into a gangrene. And gangrene हो सकता है पूरा एरिया काला काला हो जाएगा, and a gangrene में set it और उसमें amputation करना पड़ता है. बहुत सारे diabetics का toe amputate करते हैं, fingers amputate करते हैं, is because of too much sugar not allowing bacteria to be killed by antibiotics. So they have to be very careful. All giants, or as a matter of fact, all diabetic mellitus patients are always told wear proper shoes so that you don't slip, you don't fall, and you don't get hurt. Any injury means bacterial infection, and there is a chance the bacteria may keep on multiplying and a gangrene sets in and an amputation would be required. So ये diabetic mellitus में और even giants में careful रहना पड़ता है. Blood sugar levels are high. They may have diabetic neuropathy, that is nerves are affected. or diabetic nephropathy, in which the kidneys are affected, or diabetic retinopathy, in which the nerves, or sorry, the eyes get infected, or diabetic foot, जिसमें फुट के अंदर गैंग्रीन हो सकता है, एंड इट मे रिक्वायर एन एम्पुटेशन, तो उसमें एम्प्यूटेट करना पड़ता है, उसको काट के निकाल देना पड़ता है. सो दिस यू हैव टू बी केयरफुल in diabetic mellitus patients also and in giants also. Otherwise, they are healthy. Then we have acromegaly, hypersecretion of growth hormone in adults produces disproportionate giants. Sir, what will happen to a giant? Sir, after the age of 21, अगर growth hormone ज्यादा हो जाएगा, excessive growth hormone, will it cause epiphysis and diaphysis to undergo cell division? Will epiphysis, diaphysis undergo cell division? No. After 21, epiphysis and diaphysis fuse. They become ossified. उनका ossification हो जाता है, means further increase in height will not take place. तो समझो मेरा pituitary gland, now I am beyond 21, my bones, epiphysis, diaphysis have undergone ossification. So now suddenly समझो I have growth hormone, too much growth hormone after the age of 21, my ossification of long bones has taken place. So I will not have a further increase in height. Height नहीं बढ़ेगी मेरी, तो मेरे limb bones नहीं बढ़ेंगे. Limb bones don't increase in size. Limb bones don't increase in size, so my flat bones will increase in size. Flat bones will start increasing in size. And which flat bones? Sir, मेरे jaws लंबे लंबे हो जाएंगे, मेरा frontal bone protrude होगा. Growth hormone acts on my frontal bone starts protruding. Frontal bone आगे आएगा, मेरे jaws will grow, which is called prognathism. And a prognathism takes place, and I have long hands and feet. मेरे phalanges बढ़ने लगेंगे. Carpals, metacarpals, tarsals, metatarsals, phalanges increase. So all my carpals and metacarpals and phalanges and tarsals and metatarsals and phalanges and will increase in size, and that means I will have long hands and feet. My jaws, if you remember, maxillae and mandible will increase in size, and that will result in an ugly face. Imagine protruding forehead or protruding jaws, which we remember is called prognathism, protruding cheekbones. Cheekbones बढ़ते हैं. Cheekbones called as zygomatic bones also increase in size. So forehead बढ़ता है, zygomatic bone बढ़ता है, prognathism, jaws बढ़ते हैं, occipital bone, which is on the back side, occipital bone will also increase in size, and this will produce a very ugly face due to overgrowth of facial bones. Occasionally, the patient develops a hump due to bending of the vertebral column. Kyphosis कहते हैं. Where will growth hormone act on your vertebrae? And Vishal sir has just taught you vertebrae are individual bones, और उसमें vertebrae are flat bones. So vertebrae increase in size. खास करके your 12 thoracic vertebrae and 12 thoracic vertebrae increase in size. तो आपके बैक साइड पे एक हम्प बैक आ जाता है, एक हम्प आ जाता है due to thoracic vertebrae increasing in size, and that is the condition called kyphosis. Kyphosis हो जाता है, and soft tissues, tongue, heart, liver, kidney, lungs enlarge, skin becomes thick. हाँ, so again heart enlarges, soft tissues enlarge, protein synthesis, tongue enlarges, lungs enlarge, liver enlarge, kidney enlarge, but this time it is disproportionate, क्योंकि हाइट तो नहीं बढ़ रही है लेकिन हार्ट बड़ा हो रहा है. So you have a bigger heart in a normal volume body, bigger lungs, etc. So these are disproportionate giants. So hypersecretion of growth hormone in adults produces disproportionate giants, which are called as acromegalics. Hypersecretion of growth hormone in children are normal, healthy giants, that is called as gigantism. So gigantism में normal है, but acromegalics, which is growth hormone oversecretion in adults, produce disproportionate giants and ugly appearance with all the facial bones developing. And we remember prognathism, jaws develop, kyphosis, vertebrae में hump आता है, overgrowth of all facial bones, a gorilla face कहते हैं उसे. A person with acromegaly has a gorilla face, and a gorilla face develops, and terrible appearance acromegaly. If you see a patient with acromegaly, you will really be touched. What a horrible, horrible appearance a patient with acromegaly has. So this is a very crucial hormone, very versatile hormone called as growth hormone. Then we have prolactin. Prolactin, also called as lactogenic hormone, also called as lutetropic hormone. Lactogenic hormone, also called lutetropic hormone, it is secreted by acidophils, which are lactotropes. And what will the function of prolactin be? During pregnancy, it promotes breast development. तो सर ये है आपके breast, और breast के अंदर ये, if you remember, are milk producing apparatus. Milk producing apparatus, if you remember, ये है alveoli, और उसमें से आते हैं mammary tubules, and mammary tubules से mammary duct, which opens into ampulla, which opens into a lactiferous duct. याद है ये कितनी बार किया है? And fats are deposited during puberty. Puberty में fats are deposited by estrogen. Puberty में fats are deposited by estrogen, and estrogen से fats deposit होते हैं जिससे mammary gland का size बढ़ता है. That is at puberty. During pregnancy, lots of fats are deposited inside the mammary gland, and that is done by prolactin. Prolactin deposits fats in the mammary gland, and the breast will show a tremendous increase in size. So mammary gland का size बढ़ जाता है because of fats deposited by prolactin. याद रखना, who deposits fats at puberty? Fats at puberty are deposited by estrogen. Who deposits fats during pregnancy? During pregnancy, fats are deposited by prolactin. Prolactin deposits fats in the mammary gland and shows a tremendous increase in the size of the mammary gland. And during pregnancy, it promotes breast development. After pregnancy, postpartum, it promotes milk secretion. So आपके mammary gland में ये आपके alveoli. याद है alveoli produce milk and it is prolactin which will act on the fats. Prolactin will act on the fats and prolactin convert fats into glucose, that is lactose, and lactose बन जाता है and protein called as casein. So prolactin converts fats into lactose and casein, and lactose and casein along with water produce mother's milk. So what will fats become? As fatty acid glycerol, which will become acetyl coenzyme A, and glycerol will become DHAP. And what will DHAP become by reverse glycolysis? Glucose. What will acetyl coenzyme A by reverse glycolysis become? Glucose. What will glucose get isomerized to form? Galactose. And one glucose and galactose will become lactose. And some of the acetyl coenzyme A becomes pyruvic acid. What will pyruvic acid undergo? Reverse glycolysis to form amino acid. Which amino acid? What will amino acid form? Protein. Which protein chain is formed? Casein. So prolactin has beautifully converted fats into lactose and casein. So after pregnancy, post-parturition, it promotes milk secretion, produces lactose and casein, for which reason it is called the lactogenic hormone. It is called lactogenic hormone. And prolactin maintains the corpus luteum during pregnancy and helps in a constant supply of progesterone for the endometrium. Hey, so corpus luteum in the ovary is maintained for 3 months. याद है, for 3 months corpus luteum is maintained, and corpus luteum is maintained for 3 months by the action of 2 hormones. If you remember, actually HCG maintains it. Human chorionic gonadotropin given by the blastula acts on the corpus luteum. तो यूटरस से HCG आता है और कॉर्पस लूटियम को मेंटेन करता है, and prolactin also acts on the corpus luteum and maintains corpus luteum, and the corpus luteum keeps on giving progesterone, and progesterone will maintain the endometrium. तो प्रोजेस्ट्रॉन एंडोमेट्रियम को मेंटेन करके रखता है, and pregnancy has successfully taken place. So corpus luteum is maintained by prolactin along with HCG, for which reason it is also called a luteotropic hormone. What is prolactin also called as? The prolactin is also called as the luteotropic hormone, because it maintains the corpus luteum along with HCG. And one more function, it also prolactin reduces the chances of pregnancy immediately after childbirth. And if you remember, that is called lactational amenorrhea. याद है किया था हमने? If prolactin levels are high, then prolactin gives a negative feedback to your pituitary, and pituitary को negative feedback मिलेगा, and pituitary stops secretion of FSH and LH, and FSH LH कम हो जाएगा तो ovary में primordial follicle will not become Graafian follicle. Primordial follicle to Graafian follicle requires presence of FSH. So FSH nahi hai, primordial will not become Graafian follicle. No LH means there will be no ovulation, and ovulation will not take place, and because of which there is no chance of pregnancy. If you remember, for 6 months, 6 महीने के लिए prolactin levels are high, there is negative feedback to the pituitary. Pituitary stops secretion of FSH and LH for 6 months, और 6 महीने के लिए FSH, LH levels are low, so the primordial follicle will not become the Graafian follicle. And yeah, just a second, there was an issue. And what is that condition called as lactational amenorrhea? So during pregnancy, prolactin levels are high, will give negative feedback to your pituitary. Pituitary for 6 months will give out less FSH, less LH, and in the absence of FSH and LH, ovulation will not take place, and that means ovulation for 6 months will not take place, and that means pregnancy is avoided, and that is called as lactational amenorrhea. And the control is done by prolactin releasing factor PRF and prolactin inhibiting factor PIF. So prolactin releasing factor and prolactin inhibiting factor are the two factors which will control the secretion of prolactin. Prolactin releasing factor, when is PRF secreted? PRF is secreted during pregnancy itself. During pregnancy, prolactin releasing factor from hypothalamus is secreted, and prolactin releasing factor will act on pituitary gland, and pituitary gland will give out prolactin, and prolactin will act on mammary glands for breast deposition, breast fat deposition, and prolactin releasing factor is high also after pregnancy. After pregnancy, for about 6 months to 1 year. So prolactin levels are high, and that will convert fats into milk. So prolactin levels are high. What will happen after 1 year? After 1 year since childbirth, instead of giving prolactin releasing factor, hypothalamus gives out prolactin inhibiting factor. तो 1 साल के बाद prolactin inhibiting factor and PIF is secreted, so acts on the pituitary gland, prolactin secretion becomes less, and mother's milk production becomes less, and less milk is produced, which means the child now cannot survive on mother's milk, और इस बच्चे को न्यूट्रिशनल सप्लीमेंट देना चालू करते हैं, which is called as weaning. तो उसको वीनिंग प्रोसेस स्टार्ट करते हैं, उसको सेरेलैक देते हैं, या राइस वाटर देते हैं, या दाल वाटर देते हैं, एंड ये अलग से काउज मिल्क देते हैं, एंड यू हैव टू स्टार्ट with these alternatives for the child because mother's milk is becoming less. Yeah. So who's causing this? This is caused by prolactin. So prolactin is responsible for production of milk and also helping in the breast development, milk secretion, maintains corpus luteum, and causes lactational amenorrhea. So this is it. We'll just take a stop here. I'll check my net and come back again.